Now we should be recording. I see it here. So I'll cut this part for five, four, three, two. Hi, everybody. This is the one and only Mr. Dennis Diaz, Commander in Chief of the DX Task Force that rescues men, women, and children from sex and human trafficking. And tonight on Guardians of Innocence, we do have a very special guest, among her later on. Trust me, this is an episode that you really want to tune into. Now, as we know, human trafficking is 150 billion with a B, capital B, dollar industry, and tens of thousands of children are lured into it every year, just in the United States. We're not counting other countries as well. And as we know, this is an epidemic that is worldwide. So the one of the things, the average child is trafficked around the age of 12 to 14 years old, and that's not even counting actually kidnappings and abductions. Everything goes with children since birth. A lot of people, mothers give the children up or they get kidnapped. There's so much that we need to talk about. Now, as you guys have heard before, you guys might have heard of a name Tank. You guys see now on Sirius XM, I heard radio on YouTube, and even on the Facebook podcast. And tonight we actually have a co-host. His name is Copro Tank, and he's a extremely valuable asset. He helps on the rescues and the whole nine yards. Tank, welcome in.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Diaz?
Good, good, man. It's always glad to have you. You're definitely my right hand man for
You know it.
sure. And tonight we have a very special woman. I actually started talking to her through Facebook, and she is amazing. She's really knowledgeable as well. And you guys gonna find out by for yourself. So I'm just gonna simply bring it in. Kathy, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you? Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for her accepting. I noticed that you are somewhere in the United States, some other country far, far away.
State,
And
state.
absolutely. And so can you please give me a little bit about and our listeners a little bit of the background? Where do you come about into this?
Okay. Like I said, now this is my first podcast. I guess they have different names for it. So if I stumble or something, I apologize. And it's also hard to introduce yourself. Well, it was always difficult for me. But anyway, now I come. I'm definitely in the United States. Five words will tell you that I am Appalachian, and because of my dialect, I am from what people call it West Virginia. We call it West by God, Virginia, because we do love it so much, and we love God too. My background comes from a lot of Appalachian hard work, coal mines, poverty. But what makes America great, as you know, I was able to come through that. Went to college. I had a very successful business. I went to nursing school, had some nursing homes. It seems like it's been a lifetime ago. I'm medically retired now for almost 20 years. But other than I'm a mother to five children. They've not given me any grandchildren yet. I'm getting quite concerned. But why they've not? But we'll just talk about that at a different time. But really, that's what it is. And I'm still a baby compared to a lot of people and you all. And I don't like to be called an advocate, I guess what you'd say, um, because I don't feel like I am. And so I kind of don't put myself in that category. The only category really that I'm going to put myself in is that I'm a mother. I am a real mother. I love my children. And I have never in my life seen a child that I didn't think was beautiful that I wouldn't have took home with me. And seeing what we're seeing now, and I'm sure you all have seen a thousand times worse, like because this is what you all do. On another thing, you hunt down predators. It's just horrible. I don't know how you do it. I'm so glad you're the salt of the earth. I'd end up in prison for life. I couldn't even do it. And so we all have our, what they call our wheelhouses. So thank you again. But when I also seen, of course, it's common to fight for, or it should be, always protect your children. You'll fight for your children till the end. But what I've come to find out, sadly, there are so many children that don't have that. So what has the government done? They do what they do best. The government took advantage of that hurt and that weakness to turn it around and profit.
That's correct. I was actually a one of those children that was taken away from my mother when I was a kid, and I grew
Oh,
up in these facilities that you're talking about. This is one of those reasons why that I joined the DS task force, and that was solely due to my experiences inside these DCF facilities,
yeah.
where a lot of this stuff was
Mm,
going on inside the facilities themselves. So I
right. And I understand that. It goes back to my daddy too. My daddy was born in 1907. Now he was, of course, my mom wasn't, but I'm not that old now, guys. Come on now. No, but I'm no spring chicken. And I guess to get back to it, and he would say, he said, how can you ever appreciate wealth if you have never been poor? How could you ever appreciate again your health if you've never been sick? And that's the same thing with you. And that's why you are really good at what you're doing and passionate about it.
you know what the other thing I want to state, you said that you're in the rolling hills of West Virginia. I used to live
Yeah.
in Kentucky. I used to live right on
Oh,
the West Virginia line, right in Paintsville. So,
Paintsville, Kentucky. I've got family in Paintsville, Wayland, and Allen.
oh yeah, I lived in West Van Leer as well. So I'm very familiar with that neck of the woods. As a matter of fact, that's one of the stops that we're going to be headed down to shortly. Is we're going to be headed down to West Virginia as well as Kentucky and stuff like that, and continue
Oh,
our.
wow, that was wonderful. I hope you call me, come have a cup of coffee with me. I'm a huge coffee drinker, but yes, that is wonderful. And I'm not going to get off the subject here. We do need you here. We have just had two police officers, and this is what is hard because I've always backed the blue. Of course I have. You know, we just had two police officers arrested for inappropriate behavior, being a pedophile, and they got caught. Two police officers. And
Oh yeah,
we've also had, it's just been awful.
yeah, the other thing is, in Kentucky, there was chief from the chief from the sheriff's department that was also peddling drugs, and they apprehended him as well. And he's been doing it for years. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on, especially when it comes to the drugs, and comes
Mm,
it ties
mhm.
hand in hand with human trafficking as well. So
Absolutely. One hand washes the other.
that's it.
It
So
sure does.
it's all evil, it's all satanic, and we're here to stop it. We're
I'm
not looking
100,
to play
yep,
games.
I'm 100% with you. But yes, you're very right. Like, oh, now also two teachers. Now, um, I got myself, well, it's just not me. You know, you hate to say I because it's like, oh, it's just me. You also hate to say, oh, woe is me when you're hurt because you're not. There's a lot of people like this. And I couldn't have done what I have done in the amount of time that I've done it without good people helping me. You can forget it. I wouldn't have been able to do it. Last January, from the same middle school, it's in Jackson County. I had not one but two teachers also arrested. Um, they had a camera where the girls changed their clothes, if you could believe this. They also,
Wow.
yes, and they also, yeah, again, all you got to do is Google it, you'll find it. And again, it's Jackson County. The teachers, there's two. And the other teacher, what he was doing, would you know how kids, everybody has a cell phone. That's another different story about how horrible it is. He was getting their phone numbers and asking them to send him naked pictures. A teacher.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Unfortunately, that's not uncommon. We uncover stuff like that all the time. It's not uncommon, especially. See, that's the whole thing with me. I think one of the things that we need to push forward is getting a hold of Congress and actually doing full screenings as well as email checks on anybody who's going to be educating our children. That's one of the biggest safety concerns that I can possibly think of, is
Oh
that
my God.
our
Mhm.
public schools are just these magnets for these type of predators. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them take up teaching because of their sexual preferences, and those are the
Bing,
people that we need to take down immediately. There's no
bingo. Mhm. You said that correctly. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when you said that, I've said that before too. They just simply become teachers. And I hate to say this, I don't want to be all cop negative type things, but I've come to find out that a lot of these cops done the same thing.
That's correct.
When it comes out once they get caught and they finally start researching their background, like you said, should be done first, they found out that they had been accused of this for years.
Yep. And unfortunately, it costs the city a lot of money. So what they like to do is they like to do payout and cover ups, and that doesn't help the case at all. What that actually does is it minimizes the behavior that they're exhibiting and allows them to walk free because they're supposed to be public figures. And unfortunately, that's the reason why the DS task force was created, because nobody's safe when it comes to that. Any predator that
That's wonderful. I'm so thankful that you all do that. You just don't know. Not just me. And I, again, don't want to just say I. And I'm going to say there's parents, there's grandparents out there that will tell you, thank you, thank you, thank you for what you're doing. They'll support. We all will. We'll support you 100%. But I know you already realize this, but I'm just going to say it. And I know you really
predators
the people that you're helping the most, that is really thankful the most, are the ones that can't say it, and that's the kids.
correct. And so that's one of the reasons why that there are certain safety precautions that need to be put in effect for parents to be able to teach their kids to be able to speak up. And
Yes. Mhm.
one of the most important things is we had on well Dennis had on a phone call with you earlier, is that a lot of these kids, the predators that they go after these kids that have underlying mental health issues like depression or anxiety and stuff like that, who have a hard time speaking up, and those are the ones that are being affected the most. And unfortunately, the ones that are unable to speak up, we do the speaking up for them. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that we should definitely implement is proper uh, exercises to be able to teach these kids how to speak up, how to be able to recognize red flags, how to be able to hold people, adults accountable, how to be able to say, "Hey, I'm 14 years old. Leave me alone. This is weird. This is creepy," and being loud and boisterous about it in order to
Mhm.
gain the attention of the public around them. All that stuff comes into effect when it comes to the safety of these children.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And what we know, again, if you'd asked me 5, 10 years ago, even though I was a nurse for almost, well, really over 30 years, you would have never made me believe back then that mental health in this country was this bad. And I believe what it's skyrocketed it with children is social media. There, sadly, as you know, I'm sure you've heard of it, a second child, she was just 10 years old being bullied at school. Because, well, there's always been bullying. As we know, kids are the meanest. But she got on social media because they think that that's real life. They think it's okay, but they're kids. She just committed suicide. And
Yeah,
she got on social media to learn how to do it.
and and
Yeah,
unf-
that sucks.
and unfortunately, mental health is so underfunded. It's not even funny.
Right.
And a lot of these doctors and stuff, I believe they get their PhD out of a gumball machine. I used to say that all the time, and I firmly believe that because they
Hmm.
At you,
go.
we love you.
No, 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 not you. I'm just saying in general. A lot of these doctors, they go based off of the textbooks, and what they forget to realize is that everybody's an individual. So
Yes.
might work for somebody, might not work for somebody else. And so that's the reason why it's so underfunded, is because they try to keep everything a certain way. And they're like, oh, textbook, 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 textbook. And it's like, well, what about the innovation? What about the new technology that's out nowadays? What about the stuff that can actually help these kids? But we're not going to implement any of that. We're going to just keep prescribing the same medications like Ritalin that's been out for years because they have ADHD. So here, take some Ritalin. But yet again, we know Ritalin is addictive, right? So
Yeah,
it's like,
yes, it's
what is up with that?
cost a lot of people their lives, kids, when they got older because they become addicts.
Exactly. So we need to die down on pharmaceutical companies, because a lot of these medications also uh, increases the development rate in these children. You got 13, 14-year olds that are growing into full female figures because of the food they eat, and the medications that they are taking from these doctors. And again, if you want to look at it from a different perspective, I would still consider that like a form of grooming, because these scientists that make these medications, they are 100% aware that it might stunt development or increase development and all this other stuff. And when you look at it from that perspective, what is the goal here? Are we just going to allow these pharmaceutical companies to make billions and billions of dollars prescribing our children medications that make them develop faster? I mean, to me, that's a sick and twisted thing to do.
And I think, and I agree, like I said, I agree with you, but I have a little take on what's doing it myself. And again, it's my opinion. When they give hormones in food to chickens to make them fully adult, like in, and I'm just using this as an example, in 2 months, they go from a chick to a chicken. They grow that fast. They do that, money, and they could sell, what I'm saying, things of that nature.
Right.
What do you expect it's going to do for a child when they eat a chicken McNugget?
That's the
It's going
same
to give
thing.
them, yeah.
Same thing. And then and if you look at it from another perspective, right? So soy has a certain amount of estrogen in it, right?
Right. Uh-oh, I think I lost you.
Right? Estrogen is the chemical that female traits in men. So now you have the emotional side effect that comes with it, because a
Mhm.
man's not supposed to be able to take a lot of estrogen, but now you have
Hello. I'm sorry, not to interrupt you. You went blank. Like I didn't hear anything for like 5 or 10 seconds. I apologize. I was trying to say I was going hello.
okay. Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Yeah, but if I didn't hear everything you were saying because it did. It's kind of like it went dark.
Yep, no worries. I said that so soy is in a lot of the food products that we eat on a regular basis. And
Oh
what that
yes.
does is it has amounts of estrogen in it, um which is a chemical that is found in
It's,
female
yeah, I was
genetics.
gonna say yes. It's females. Uh huh.
So when you got young boys eating soy products, what happens? Well, they start developing female traits, breastises. They start developing mood swings. They start developing all these different type of things because their body's not able to handle estrogen. It's supposed to handle testosterone, and women are
Right.
supposed to estrogen. So these
Right.
are these are other things that are um, that are in our food
Oh,
product, how dangerous it is. Yet again, we're allowed to have a certain amount of turpentine in our General Mills cereal, which is paint thinner. It's okay to have that in there,
you went
but yet
went
again,
blank.
it's
Oh,
dangerous to eat.
sorry, you went blank again. I'm sorry. Might be the Wi-Fi. I can
It's
hear you.
definitely the Wi-Fi.
Yes. Okay. So I don't want you to think like if I don't hear you or not answering, it's just because you went dark for a little bit. I apologize, but go ahead. Continue.
I said, there's like turpentine inside certain cereals, and turpentine is a poison. And that can also cause developmental issues, and a lot of the medications we take on a daily basis also causes developmental issues. So
Mhm.
these are the things that we need to be more alert of, and we need to get down on our government and crack on our government and say, hey, listen, enough of this, because what's happening is it's not only affecting our health as adults, but it's also affecting our children. And when you have a 13-year-old who's fully developed due to these types of um, chemicals that are in a food that they eat, well, what do you think that is? That's a prime example of, a predator being like, oh, look, this 13-year-old's fully developed, and it gives them an excuse to be like, oh, okay, well, guess what? She's 13 years old, but she's fully developed, so it's okay. And it's not okay.
Oh God,
It
no.
gives them that excuse, and that
No.
disgusting behavior is
Yeah,
unacceptable, and we're not putting up with it.
absolutely. Like I said, they might be physically developed, but honey, we don't get mentally really developed till we're about 25. And
No,
that's just my opinion on it.
mhm.
Is is that's why most car rental places you cannot rent the car until you're the age of 25?
Well, that's but there you go.
You
But
know,
no, but I do think
even
though. Go
like
ahead.
New York, they have an age of consent which is 16 years old. Do you believe that? 16 years old is the age of consent in New York. Do you know how disgusting that is? I mean,
It is,
18 is too young, but
but
16 years old.
I understand. But this might shock you. You said you are from Kentucky, and
I've lived in.
do you know that the age of consent in Kentucky is also 16?
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yes, and what is even more terrible, and they try to make a rule. Well, they can say that they want to have sex, but the only thing bad about it now is that man or woman, they cannot be more than 10 years older than them. That is, and even though we know how horrible that is, they do that like most laws,
Mhm.
um, as a back door. They do it to a back door,
Uh,
and
what's even worse about it is
Mm.
a lot of it has to do, believe it or not, has to do with population control in prisons. When the prisons are overcrowded, they're like, hey, what is something that is a nonviolent crime that we can, keep beds lower? Oh, guess what? Let's make the age of consent 16 years old instead of 18 years old. So a lot of these predators are still roaming the streets, and it's okay at 16. It's okay. It's not okay. It's disgusting, and it's immoral, and you need to die underneath the jail, as far as I'm concerned.
My daughter is
I
16, and I tell you what, anybody try to pull
Hmm.
this crap, they're dead. They are wood chipper. I don't even need that.
No, I got
well,
bare
guess
hands.
what? I got you beat. I'm sorry, not meaning to brag. It's terrible. They say there's a fine line between love and hate. Well, I'm telling you, that line's just as fine between confident and cocky. What
You're
you
right.
just said, they better not do it, or you're going to put them in a wood chipper. Well, it's 100%. I agree with. I'd help you do it. I said that to uh, what they call themselves, public official. I got
Yeah.
arrested just for saying it.
Hey,
Make sure that you don't discriminate yourself. This it gets here worldwide. Just I love
Huh?
you. You just make sure you don't. What's that word that you said?
incriminate. Don't incriminate yourself, even though you've already been arrested and stuff like that for it. And it's done and over with. Just be careful on what you're saying, because you don't want to anybody to listen and devalue
Oh,
what.
I understand, and I appreciate that, guys. It's very nice of you, and
We love
uh,
you.
I love you all too already, and just kind of getting to know you because of what you do. Um, when you're on the same, what they call, I guess, when you're on that same rock, when you're
Mhm.
on that rock, you're on the same island. It's impossible not to. But I understand what you're saying, that I need to hush. Like I said, and I do understand that. And I've had people tell me, no, I'm attorneys and stuff, and they're friends of mine. They say, Kathy, you know what the Fifth Amendment means. I said, yes, I do. He said, you know what it means when they say You have the right to um, be silent. Everything you say can and will be used against you. He
Right.
said, so you need to hush. I said, I know what it means. I just don't have the ability.
I
So
say the
don't.
same thing.
I
You
said, just
know, I got pulled over. I got pulled over a couple of years ago, and the cop was doing everything in his power to, you know, make me look bad. And he goes, and then he tried to arrest me. He goes, "You have the right to remain silent." I said, "I would if I was able to." What you're doing is messed up, and
I said that.
I ended up beating it in court as well. So
Yeah, I'm older, but I tell you, Jill, it wasn't on a bucket list. But I was the only sober woman in there. I don't do drugs, but like I said, no. And I understand that. And I understand people's concerns because on my social media, one thing I do, and I understand again, it's not that I don't respect people coming to me. I know they're intelligent. I know that they care. They're not doing it to try to put me down or, that they're mad at me. They're trying to help me. And we always know that we should. If you have a true friend, they will tell you things that you don't want to hear. And
correct.
at the
Yes, absolutely.
A friend
and
tells you what you don't want to hear, not and what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. There's a difference.
Absolutely 100%. So I don't get upset at them for doing that. And of course they do worry about me because now where I have been, and I do. What is the young? I say it's the younger kids. What is their one thing? I've got receipts, or what I'm saying, or bring receipts. I think
Right.
that's a new thing that people say now. And I used it once when I was on social media. They said, you better quit putting that stuff out like that. I says, no, I have receipts and I'm posting it. And I said, if they want to sue me for slander, that would be great because we'd get a jury trial and it would get on the news and it would, get the word out more. I
Hmm.
could, I went to jail. I know now you have to have cash. I'm a huge coffee drinker. That's the only drug I do. Have some cash. I'll buy my coffee. I'll sit there and sip my coffee until court date. And I know that's not that I'm big and bad or brave. Absolutely not. Don't take it like that because it's not something, again, that anyone would look forward to or anyone would want. But I seen, and I think it was, and I don't push my faith on anyone. I don't, but I'm not ashamed of it. And where I have prayed and prayed, and I mean, not even really on my knees. It's been so bad that I've had to pray on my belly. God, why? We all do that. God, why? What can I do? Nothing's working. There's people been doing this, for years. Nothing's changed. And I
Mhm.
keep doing it. But when I started thinking, and I do believe it was he that brought it to me, that I had to do it this way. The reason I know that he did is because it worked.
So
Um,
I have a question to ask you, Kathy.
Go ahead.
As your time as a registered nurse, getting back on topic, what are some of the things that you've seen inside the hospital, inside your profession, um, that really stuck with you? Some of the stuff that um, I'm not trying to pry in something that might have caused you
Oh,
some.
no, no, no. I'm an open book. I've always been. Go ahead. That's
What
fine.
are some of the gruesome things that you witnessed, and how were you feeling when you had to handle those cases? And what are some of the things that you did in order to at least make your patient feel comfortable? Without disclosing their information or anything like that, because we don't want to
Yeah.
have them relive it. But what are some of
Yeah.
the things
Technically,
you
yeah.
inside the
Didn't do
hospital?
that. Technically, yeah. Well, that's kind of hard because in a way there is more than one, and I'm here to tell you, and I'm sure nurses. They've told you that there's a lot of
Oh,
things.
it's all the
Like I said,
time. More
it's all the
common than what people really think.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, it's a hard profession. Now, like I said, I was a nurse, but I was also really I was a business owner, and I had a couple nursing homes. I had a large, staffing company. But yes, I still seen things, of course, in the hospitals and things at times as well. And I think what it is, I guess, with everything, the hardest thing that you have is nobody wants to listen to the patients, even families.
So true.
they they they're with there with mom and dad because they love them, of course. And that's great because a lot of people, again, don't have that. But when mom says, no, I do not want to do that, or, well, just use an example, I'm not taking that med, you know what I'm saying, type thing, they have a fit on her. Now, yes, you need to take it. And doctors know they don't necessarily have a fit, but they do in their way try to make them feel bad. Or they try to say that they're being selfish, especially if they don't come out and say the words. But you know how that works, like gaslighting type thing. You
Mhm.
say it, not you're not like saying the words.
Because
And
they're getting kickback for these pharmaceutical companies for
oh yeah,
pushing these meds, so they're gonna do everything in their power to gaslight and make these kids feel like crap for having to take these meds.
oh, absolutely. But like I said, that's probably what it is. It's not just something that's never changed. And you can use that back to what, this podcast is about. That is how, and again, pharmaceutical companies, we know that. Tombstones don't lie. In West Virginia, there was a time, sadly, that the coal mines were overrun with oxycodone and oxycontin when it came out.
Yep.
Because, as you know, coal miners and stuff, and, people for construction, they do get hurt. I mean, they've got a very physical job. Well, they'd go to the doctor, man, I'm down on my back. Well, here, take this. And it spiraled. This has always happened. This is nothing new. Pharmaceutical companies, obviously, and I hate to even give them the credit, well, obviously, they're highly intelligent. They know what works, they know what doesn't work. They know that's like a grifter. They know what's big at the time and what people respond to. And they
So
use, well, go ahead.
no, no, you so true. Everything that you're saying.
It's sad and it's scary because they're doing it to our kids. They've always been doing it to our children. It's just now, what's, I didn't say this, these are not my words now, but what has been done in the dark has now been brought to the light, and whispered in the corner has been shadowed from the rooftop. Not my
So
words.
not my words. But it is so true. And when you were actually saying that, that actually brought me back to, for everybody that is listening to this or watching it on YouTube, the movie Taken, especially the first one, I will find you and I will kill you. But the fact of the matter is, when I was running for, when that was, when I ran for president on 2020,
Right.
I really committed to find out more, because that's what really brought me into it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to find out more about sex trafficking, human trafficking, and so on. And the Native Americans, although they stay away from all this political stuff. But at the end of the day, I did explain to them, listen, I'm not a politician, man. I just trying to do what's best for the country, and that's all. And a lot of natives actually respected that, and they started teaching me about the pipelines and stuff that happens. And the thing is that now that you mentioned that, that actually I even wrote it down, that on the pipelines, just like the movie Taken, that happens too often, and you're gonna find drugs there. You're gonna
Oh
find
yeah.
so much stuff. So that is so true. I basically saw it for myself. We did the best to be able to help everybody. But one thing that a lot of people don't know is that all these people that are supposed to also protect, serve and protect. By the way, I love police officers. A lot of them are great men and women by all means. But this is few bad apples that literally bring a black eye to the force. It will be great to get rid of that bad apples, because most police officers are great men and women. I love you all. But the thing
Right.
is that, especially out in the fields, they do pay the police department.
Mm-hmm.
You try to actually get them, like, hey, listen, this is what's going on. It will get to a certain level, because, like I said, a lot of police officers are there to protect themselves, and they live it every day. They put their life on the line every day. You don't know what's going to happen as a police officer,
Oh
regardless of
no.
hey. but they'll do the arrest, they'll do the paperwork, the whole 9 yards. But it gets up to a certain level, then everything disappears. So I remember that, and like I said, at that specific time, I was running for president of the United States. We get a lot of insight that most people don't.
Yeah, you do. You do. Um, and you know what it was? What makes you different? And again, we all know flattery's cheap, but people don't realize when they try to flatter someone, who they're really cheapening is their self. But with that being said, families come up to you. They've gone up to everybody. Let's just put it this way. They have tried. They've talked to people. They basically get doors slammed in their face. Well, a lot of the politicians, they say, yes, I'm going to do this. It's going to happen if you vote for me. And then they do that. They get in office and you never hear another peep. So you were different. From what I said, if I'm not wrong, you got pretty high up in the, I guess what you call the presidential chain when you were running, correct?
Mhm. Yeah, he was one of the final three of the primaries,
Oh, wow. So
Only
see,
the primaries, the finals.
the
You
finals
either
too.
voted in general. You either voted for Joe Biden, you either voted for Donald Trump, or you voted for Dennis Diaz.
wow, that is just awesome. And like I said,
You
where
you
I
want
see,
to hear something? You want to hear something crazy? That's actual fact. That this is very factual.
yes,
So you ever hear the saying, when like especially all these politicians, they sit there and they say, "Well, you can't make everybody happy, right?" Well,
right,
that might be the case, but just imagine this, right? Imagine somebody becoming president of the United States of America, and everything is running smoothly. There's zero crime. There's no corruption inside the government. There's nothing, and it's an absolute perfect country. Well,
hmm,
are you going to vote for him again?
well, of course you would.
All
But like I
right.
said,
And would you vote for him again the following term, or can you? No, you can't, right? So then the next person comes in and guess what happens? It goes right
mhm,
back to what it was before. And
yes,
so what people don't realize is if everything's running perfect and everything gets done perfectly and there's no crime, there's perfect laws and everybody's happy, is it really a utopia? The answer is no, because at the end of the day, somebody else is going to come in and mess it all up. So, so at the
oh,
end of the day, you got to look at it from this. I mean, you got to do what you can right here, right now, at this moment. Do the best you can. Be insightful. Learn, educate yourself, and also understand that utopia is in the mind. It's a mindset. If you are free, like the U.S. Constitution says, you're free, then articulate your rights, and
oh,
especially when it comes to these children, you need to protect your children at all costs. You need to educate your children at all costs. And then on top of it, we need to start holding these doctors. We need to start, and how you do that? Well, you go all the way to the top. You get a hold of the general, the surgeon general. The surgeon general is the federal form of government that oversees all medical practices throughout the entire United States of America. If
right,
you want these pharmaceutical companies not to have power, then what do you got to do? You got to hold the the surgeon general accountable, because
that's what,
they're the ones who provide all the funding. They're the ones who do all the additional stuff from the back end. We need to start cracking down on certain things, and we need to start sending in a whole bunch of mail to the surgeon general. Because then if you don't listen, then guess what? Get the hell out.
oh yeah,
You're not there for the job.
and yeah, and the majority of them ain't. But when you were saying, I was just, what went through my head, like the utopia, and the first thing, and just forgive me, I like to think I got a sense of humor. When you were saying, what if everything would run, perfectly? Would you, vote for them again? Well, of course you would. Most people say, well, sure, right? And I even said, well, yeah, I would. But really, in the back of my
You
mind,
can
I was thinking, no, we would not be able to vote for that man or woman again because they would be assassinated.
Can you
Um,
repeat that? Because you went black for like 10 seconds.
oh yes, I'm sorry. That's what you all were doing as
you get
well
it
earlier.
right. You're doing great, honey.
But like, yeah, no. As far as the utopian society, again, I was just kind of making the thing kind of what they call like a smart bet or something. Well, yeah, we would vote for them again, but look what they tried to do with Trump. they would be assassinated. Who was behind these assassinations? Well, you have already said it. But I don't think people realize it, even though they know it. They don't realize it if you can understand that. Like, yeah, I know about, but it doesn't hit home until it happens to them. And but that's what it is. It's there's too much money to be made. I said we split the atom. We made the most deadliest bomb in the world in the 40s, but we've been to space, but we can't cure cancer. Uh-uh. It'll never be cured
Oosh.
because the money.
You want to hear something else? So this is actual factual. Look up, and I'm sorry if this is going to offend anybody, but look up the gay bomb. They actually made a bomb that they decided that it was inhumane to actually drop. And what it does is it has these chemicals in it that turns people gay, literally.
I
And
never heard that before.
there,
What?
yeah, I swear to God, you can look
It's
it up. That's a real thing that they made. They made something called the gay bomb, and it was supposed to be dropped onto the enemy, so that way they would be involved in intercourse with each other. So that way you would be able to swoop in and
oh,
pick
I
them
gotta
off one.
research
You could
that.
pick them off one by one. What a lot of
Yeah,
I
I'm,
swear to you on everything I love. But now guess what? They consider that inhumane, right? So now we can't utilize that weapon. So what do? Oh, we just give the medical the ability to do self-castration or medical castration on children. We allow these certain organizations to come in to that's all run by Soros, by the way, who
oh,
made
sorry.
billions and billions of dollars on the LGBTQ. Um, it's insane. But
LGBT.
it wasn't even about transgender or gay rights or anything like that. It was a political takeover to get people get men to be more feminine because they started to realize that hey, the way the country's going and stuff like that, is there going to be an uprise, is there going to be a takeover in power? And during the January 6th insurrection, what a lot of people don't realize is you got all these people that were arrested on false pretenses. You can't arrest somebody for storming the Capitol. I mean, last time I checked, that's a protected constitutional right. I mean, what is the right to bear arms, right? The right to bear arms has nothing to do with hey, you want a firearm, you can have a firearm. It has more along to do with hey, if you are not happy with your government and your government is doing these type of things, and it's up to the people to what to storm the White House and get them out. That is a protected constitutional right that these people were arrested for.
It is. It very much is. You can't really use that insurrection. You can't really have an insurrection without a gun. No, it would be kind of stupid to think that. But you know that though. But you know how they said that. But it's so funny too. Like I said, I'm I'm gonna have to research this gay bomb. I'm like, okay, I've never heard of that. I think I would love to
Oh
think
yeah,
of.
That's
that is
really
that is a real thing that was created. I believe it was created in I think it was the 70s or something like that. Because that was one of the things that they were thinking about doing was dropping this bomb that turned people gay, so it was easier for our government to go in there. Hey, they're all gay. They're all in with intercourse with each other, right? Their masculinity drops tremendously, so they're not going to be this more macho type of person, and now we can go in there and we can kill them off. And now you look at it, what's going on as far as like these children and these adults um that get sex changes. They don't want to talk about the mass amounts of suicide,
Oh
um,
yeah,
people that got changed over to their sexes and stuff like that, right? So if you look at it from that point, hey, guess what? It's a legal way to kill people and to cause mass amounts of mental health. Because guess what we could do now if we got a bunch of mental health? Well, if the wrong parties in office, we can provide social security. We can keep an eye on them anywhere and everywhere they go. And now they have to keep going to the doctors, right? So now the insurance is making money, the doctors are making money, the government's making money, all because somebody chopped off their genitals.
oh yeah.
it's
By the way, I um we really don't care if you're gay, bi, so on and so
Not at
on.
all.
Nobody cares. This is a free
No,
country. We fought to make sure that the Constitution of
absolutely.
the United States is upheld against all enemy and defended against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So therefore, it's not whether you're gay and so on. But the fact of the matter is, though, we do gotta protect the children
Hmm.
at 5 years old. You don't know if you're a boy or a girl and this and that. So he
No,
just got a point. I had no clue about no gay bomb though. That's
No,
actually
that's a
that's
real
pretty
thing. And
interesting. But
what a lot of people don't realize either is
let's
so
get
like
after the gay bomb already.
so while we're talking about we don't yeah, that's the God's honest truth. We don't care if you're gay. We don't care if you're lesbian or anything like that, dude. As a matter of fact, my aunt, she's a lesbian, okay? I have no quarrels with anybody. This is a free country. My issue that I have with this entire thing, to be 100% honest with you, is the fact that the government is now going to dictate and brainwash people through social media and through these different things to have these parents force kids to get sex changes, force these type of political beliefs on people. And last time I checked, this is a free country, right? So they should
right.
be like we should be able to do more to protect our children. We should not allow the school system to dictate what parents like if a parent decides to teach their child about, hey, that person's gay, then it should be up to to the parent, not to some school teacher that could or may not be grooming your children,
That
and
is
and
true.
and and not to some person who's 6'7", 320 pounds, dressed like a female, walking into the school talking about, hey, y'all, guess what I had in my mouth earlier today? No, 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 no,
Boing,
no, no,
boing,
no,
boing,
no.
boing.
You know what I'm saying? We don't need any of that stuff. Man, these are children and they should be able to be full of life. They should be learning about monster trucks. They should be learning about
Barbies.
dinosaurs. They
Yeah.
should be learning about Barbies. They should be able to have their imagination open, you know? Like I remember when I was growing up, one of the things that my parents used to ask me is, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, I want to be a firefighter or an astronaut. Those are the
Mhm.
type of things that we should be instilling into our children, and allowing their imagination to grow rampant and wild, not have them wear high heels if they're a genetic boy, and play with Barbie dolls and paint their nails and sit there and say his name is no longer Justin, his name is Justina, and at 8 years old. Unfortunately, this is the harsh reality of the entire situation. And these schools are just getting away with this kind of stuff, which I'm so glad Trump put a stop to that.
Oh,
Because that is just absolutely ridiculous. And a lot of and another thing is psychiatric evaluation should be mandatory when it comes to teaching, because you got a lot of these people that are, see, like I said, I don't care if you're gay, I don't care if you're lesbian, that's what you do in your household. But when you bring it to a workplace like a school and you try and pass that on to children,
That's a
well,
problem.
you're a predator. There is no
yeah.
way around it. You're a predator at that point because you're trying to teach children to be just like you, because you want people to be like you so that way it's more comfortable for you to exist in this world. And to
That's
me, that's a predator.
that's as an example actually of grooming.
Yep.
Kathy, what were you about to say? I know that Corporal Tank over here can go like he's really passionate about this stuff.
Yes, and I'm glad that he is, and I'm learning. So thank you for that. I no
Got dropped
leave.
with a gay bomb.
Yes, but I've got it now. At first, when you said it, I was thinking like a bomb, like a like they sadly that them assholes. Oh, see, I cussed anyway. In Syria, when they on their people, you know what I'm saying, to kill them.
Mhm.
That's what I
Mhm.
first thought. When you but you explained it, and I'm going to give you, if it's okay, real quick, and for my listeners, your all's listeners as well. And again, everybody has an opinion. But when you said that, and when you kept talking, it come through. I knew then what you meant. So thank you. You said
Yep.
that they done that, right? What year was it? No, let me make sure.
So
What
is it, Dennis? Do you mind pulling up your phone and look up the gay bomb? I know it's funny. Uh, it's gonna be one of the searches in your search bar now. What do you mean gay bomb? It's gonna be in there.
I put it on monitor too.
Yep.
Well, I'm actually doing that. I know it came out. I'm not gonna edit this. This is actually working out very well. What I'm gonna do is a simple disclosure. Hey, parental discretion is advised. So there we go. And now because I'm not gonna edit this at all. This is going actually pretty fully. And Kathy, thank you very much for everything you're doing, honey.
Absolutely.
Like honestly, you are phenomenal. But
no, I'm
yeah,
not.
um,
But what I was saying was it came through when he was speaking, and I learned. Okay, the
yeah,
gate
but
law. Okay, what that was set in place. Remember, I think I told you all this, or I had said it. This has been going on for decades,
uh-huh,
and so we know that. What's the saying? Rome wasn't built in a day. It
Correct.
goes along. It goes along with that. They were already setting what they're doing today, right here today. They were setting it up decades ago. As you know, in the 70s, well, let's say the 50s and 60s, the amount of divorce and stuff was extremely small. And what do they call nuclear families? That was the thing. But by the time that the 70s come around, um, the government destroyed that. They did not want the nuclear family. They was going on to their second step. And how did they do it? Welfare, Section
Okay.
8 housing, breaking up homes. Okay, that was in the 70s. In the 80s, what happened in the 80s? Because of the homes being break up, usually fatherless homes, in the 80s, crime skyrocketed. What did they do in the 90s? Everybody went to prison. You know, made everybody do that. Okay, then here come the 2000s. Again, I hope you can follow me here. This is when the pharmaceuticals come in with the pills, the drugs. And I've always said too, and it's been well said, that the devil wears a lab coat, and you better believe it. And they all work together. One hand washes the other. And that's where that comes. So what you're seeing the gay bomb, yes, as you know, it used to be LBGT or whatever. Now it's like LBG whatever, A B
Mhm.
C D E F and G.
Mhm.
Why they extended that? They have a plus on the end of it, as you know, right? What that plus is, and I'm sitting there going to tell you with my hand on the cross. Um, that is where they are trying, and they don't want to call them pedophiles anymore. You know how they change words all the time.
Yep.
You
oh,
Yep.
know,
absolutely.
Hey, so I actually pulled up the research on the gay bomb. If you want to hear this.
It's no lie. Like I thought he was full of crap.
No,
Maybe he's
it's
trying to
real.
make something. Kathy, and I'm serious
So
about
so
this.
I'm gonna
So
I'm gonna read it to you. It's
yeah, and this is coming actually from Wikipedia. And
okay.
but
this
you
is insane. You can at least
so
get
there's
out of
there's
here.
there's there's another thing, like if you don't like Wikipedia obviously isn't like like that really good reliable source, but you can also look it up on Google dot scholar, which a
Mhm.
lot of your college professors and stuff like that, they go on Scholar to do a lot of their research. You can even look it up. So a gay bomb is an informal term referring to the purpose of a non-lethal psychochemical weapon that was speculated by the United States Air Force in the 1990s. The concept involved dispersing sex hormones and introduced mutual sexual attraction among enemy soldiers with the intention of causing confusion and disrupting military cohesion. Dating back in 1994, the Wright Laboratory in Ohio, a prosecutor for to the modern United States Air Force Research Laboratory, drafted a three non-lethal chemical weapons. The document, eventually acquired by the Sunshine Project via a Freedom of Information Act request, explores the notion of the gay bomb among other concepts. The Pentagon did not deny that the proposal had been made, stating its comment for researching non-lethal weapons for military use. Critics such as Aaron Belkin, director of the University of California, here we go with California again, Michael Palm Center called the idea ludicrous for thinking that aerosol could possibly change people into homosexuals. So
Well,
again,
okay. No, no, like I said, no, I'm not interrupting. Remember the steps when I was telling you about the decades, I guess, and I was telling you about the steps? Now you said the
Uh-huh.
90s. I used 90s again, which was the beginning of the pharmaceuticals, right? It
right,
kind of started right at the end. Well, you just said basically they just said that with what you just read,
right.
but I'm one of these people, keep it simple, stupid. Really,
Yes.
yes, what they're doing now, this again, agree, this is real. It's not like you think, but like as far as like, okay, not an injection. Let's put it that way. It's
No,
not an injection. This is a psychological um, warfare.
psychochemical. It's it's
Yes,
it's
mhm.
chemical. It's a chemical, and here goes the other thing, right? So they
It
made this chemical
is.
that allows you to do that. What's stopping them from putting that in our food? What's stopping
Well,
that from putting that in our drinking waters?
My
What's
ab-
GoPro right now is looking really sexy, by the way. Hey,
get
baby.
out of here. Yeah, did you put it in your drink right there, buddy? So so my point I'm trying to make is like they already have these chemicals that could turn people homosexual. So what's stopping them from passing it on to select a few in order to cause disruption within the societal means? So where a lot of these kids, they're 13, 14 years old and they're like, "Oh, I'm gay." You don't even know who you are yet. You're not even developed as a child yet. How do you know that you're gay? Well, let's just get that chemical in them, and guess what? It's untraceable. Nobody knows what the chemical is. And unfortunately, it's a real thing. This ain't something that was just like thought of, and then they were like, "Oh, we're going to propose this." No, cuz there was a Freedom of Information Act docket.
you went black on me again.
Opposite sex causing confusion, which again, confusion, and it's going to be so much easier for us to pick them off one by one.
Right.
That's
You went
exactly
black
what
on
it is.
me again. You was telling me that you said, well, that's remember when I said, really, I swear we are. We're on the same page. We really are. This is going to come. So let me put on a different hat. This is going to come from my medical training. Okay. You
That's
said
cool.
it was a pill, basically a pill. It's the medications that you're given. Absolutely. But what does medications in your body affect the most?
Your
Your
brain.
your brain. That's why kids nowadays, when they want to, they think it's cool. All this bullying that's going on. But if they say that they're gay or, the opposite sex, what happens? Well, they're looked at, oh, you're great, right? This is all manipulation of the mind. Then when that comes, and that's already done, I'm telling you, that's not
Remember how
coming.
it was in the 90s? If you were gay, people like stayed away from you. Now it's like you're popular being
You're
gay, and that,
popular.
that has. And what people don't realize is, it's all psychological manipulation, right? They
That's actually.
they just flip and flop this information, even from all the way back from as far as we can remember, from 40s, 30s, 20s, right? It's all these different things to say, oh, you're gay, so now we gotta bully them, right? So way back then, right? So now we bully them, right? And what does that cause? Uh Society disruption, right? Well, there's a disrupt society. What now there's a need and a cause for what? More law enforcement, more funding for our military, more funding for pharmaceutical companies,
More
um,
crackdowns.
more crackdown, more suppression of people's gun rights, more suppression of these things, right? And now what do we do now? Okay, so we've been doing that for years. Now let's say, hey, if you're not gay, you're gonna get bullied, and that's what happens.
It's part
And,
of the
and,
manipulation.
and a lot of it has to do with their parents. Their parents are forcing their kids to be gay because their parents want a gay son.
That ain't parents, but I know what you're saying. But to me, I wouldn't call them parents, but I understand. And no, again, but now let's bring this back to, we're talking about our children, right?
Yep.
Uh, we have children, you've even heard JFK talk, not JFK, but RFK talk about it. You've heard Trump talk about it. That one in every, 3 to 5 kids or 5 kids or whatever, they don't qualify for the military because they're either out of shape, they've been on mental things since they were 5 years old because they were hyper and was jumped on the table too much or something, being a kid. So what did they
Yep.
do? They've manipulated their mind. So again, yes, it is chemical. What's happening though, and you can see that now, look at all these protests they're doing. These people are quite evil. And these people, and I'm not trying to say, oh, because I'm Republican, which I am. Again, not pushing that. I'm very much a Republican. I was a Republican in my state long before it was popular.
You're right, honey. Carry
Okay.
on.
But what are they doing? They're extremely violent. Um, which because I kind of been shocked about. I did not realize how violent they were. Now, step back. You'll find this. You can Google it. You can find statistics on it. These people that just take a couple of them, put them in a thing, do a background check on them. 9 times out of 10, well, 9.9 times out of 10, these people are on 10 different psych meds.
Yep.
They're gay. They're now the gay thing. That's why there's the plus again. What I was trying to get to earlier behind the LBGQ. That's just started. That plus is because they don't want to call pedophiles anymore. And this is starting to very much. They want to call them a minor attracted adults. That's what they want to do. See how they do? They switch these. Well, when they're gay too now, it's not just so much gay. Now they're animals. My child wants to use a litter box because he thinks he's a cat. You see what I'm saying? This all works in. This is not new. Like, say, if you'd have tried to do this in the 80s, would it have worked? No. It took decades to get people's minds to work. So that I'm going to take this back to what we were talking about, what this started over. And yes, this is such a huge topic. There's so many different avenues and roads to go down because it's just so huge and it's so horrible. You do jump from thing to thing, but I want to get it back to now the Department of Health and Human Resources, aka sex traffickers.
I agree.
They're using what has already been done. They are using now, they are ready to implement what they are after. They're after our children. They're after control of our homes. They're after obedience. How are they going to get that obedience? Fear, going to jail, use lawfare. I'm worried about scared to death about losing your kid if you speak out. The FBI, remember, a couple years ago, man was just praying outside of an abortion clinic. He had 7 children. That's all he was doing. He was just praying. What did they do? FBI come in and knock down his door with guns. People need to take this more serious because this is where we're at. It's not that it's coming;
And
it's here.
what a lot of people don't realize too, that wasn't like the FBI's. You see, a lot of people think, oh, the FBI comes to knock them down and stuff like that. Well, the FBI can't do anything without certain orders. So these are orders of these political leaders, these senators, these people that were in power that were like, hey, listen, FBI, go get that guy. He's a domestic terrorist because he's praying outside of an abortion clinic. And why is that detrimental? Because it hurts their political race.
Right, and it's like I said, they're implementing what they have set up. They're also taking really. I could say this, and not to get off the subject. In every war, there's battles. There are battles in wars. Um, the person that won that war, they lost several battles, right? A lot of times with the battles of old, the best way to defeat your enemy, especially if they're a big enemy, they're a threat. What do? You send in what they call, people try to use war and football. Okay, they do that all the time. You cannot do that. It's comparing apples to oranges. What do? A war, a general or a king back then, they never their best first. Never, never. Why? They took what they thought was basically loose change. They're fodder. They could be rid of them. That king is sitting up there, and I'm going to use this as an example because it's very true, and it might hit and resonate with more people with this example. And I've used it a lot, and I've done a lot of speaking on it. That king used to was be on a hill, a mountain, on his horse, looking down at the battle, right? Watching his people, his first string, I guess what you call it, get slaughtered. Why did he do that? Because when he watched them being slaughtered and being killed, what he was doing is he watched how they done it, what they were good at, what they were weak at, what side did they want to attack first versus what side that they didn't. Same exact thing that has went on now, and we're here.
You want to hear something pretty cool? So like, um, all battles are are won through what? Through determination, through grit, through um,
Hmm.
through pain and
Yeah,
suffering. You know,
absolutely.
war is war. You could tell by a look in a person's eyes what they've been through. Um, and that's not a joke. That's just real. Um,
Oh yeah, both of them.
you know,
Yeah.
there's only certain things that you can say to somebody who's been through certain things until
Yes.
that light switches, right?
Again, that goes back to
So
the beginning of the conversation that you two were having about your past, what you've done, what you've been through, especially you. That's why you were so passionate about what you do now. And I'll tell you, I already know why you're so good at it because you've been on the other side of that fence.
oh yeah, and there's a big thing that I like to quote, and it's from Genghis Khan, and it's one of these things. For if you did not sin, God wouldn't put a punishment like me upon you, and I hold that very very dear. All these predators and all these traffickers that are out there, it's a warning. You're sinning, and I'm your punishment. And if you need, just
That's
stop,
a good way to look at it.
stop
That's a
now.
real good way to look at it. I see that. I could see, yeah, I can, like I said, so,
The
and
last podcast, Dennis said, 1, 2, take is coming for you. Boom, 3, 4, you better lock the door. I said, that locked door ain't gonna help, man. I'm running right through that. No, I'm running right through that thing, man. There's
yeah,
when it comes to the safety of women, when it comes to the safety of children, even men, because what people don't realize is that there is a lot of men that are being held through
Even
human
families,
trafficking,
I've
whole
seen it
families.
personally, definitely
Um,
even families.
and one of the craziest things is a lot of these men that have been sexually assaulted or has been involved in these type of things, you know they don't speak out at all, because it's like in society it's like, oh, you got sexually assaulted, oh, you're not a man anymore, because
right.
you're
It's shame. It's
taken.
shame. That's why they don't
And
speak out.
it's a
Because
shame.
it's shame.
It's a shame.
A
Um,
lot of times why women don't speak out, which is sad, is shame.
Shame.
They'll,
It's
they'll think that
or
there'll be a,
or the fear of not being heard or
or,
believed.
yeah, and people look at them and say, well, it was your fault.
Yep. And what's even worse is that you have a lot of these people out here who lie about it. They'll lie.
Um,
They'll lie just to get the satisfaction and the sympathy of people around them.
it's
And
the
to me,
Me Too
that's
movement.
just as
The
much
Me,
a predator.
the Me Too movement.
Yep.
But
Me
that
too.
started.
Me
But
too.
anyway, and
Me
like I
2023.
but like I said, no. Um, and I again appreciate you all. I've learned a lot. I appreciate that. But like I said, no. And again, this is so broad. We kind of went off on it. But what they have been doing to, um, I'll say, like he said, around the world, but to America. And I know it happens around the world, but the United States is the strongest country. And so they're really powered in on us, and it's what did Trump say? And I understood when he said it, the enemy within. And I remember what I said, the devil wears a lab coat. And
Absolutely. I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry, Kathy, for interrupt you, but when we were talking, you actually gave me an idea. Being holding it up. Now, I don't care what any political blah 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 red. blue, green, purple. I don't care. But the fact of the matter is that I've been holding back to actually contacting the president of the United States because I would love to be able to be doing like we do this at our packet. Like we literally do it, collecting cans and whatever we can, whatever we get. We do everything out of pocket. It's superly expensive, but the children and the people that we rescue is worth it. But you gave me an idea that wasn't. I was putting
And
it up, and but I didn't.
that's no,
Wasn't pushing the
and
button.
he's being honest. That's no joke. With
Yeah,
everything when it comes to travel expenses, everything we do it out of pocket.
absolutely. And
It's
I was in the car. I actually contacted the president of the United States
he did.
to Donald J. Trump to actually, hey, listen, this is what we're doing, and so on, and come and help us out. So hopefully you planted that seed, and I just follow through, and we definitely gonna be doing a follow up.
And he really did. I was in the car. I was actually watching the entire
Oh,
time.
well, thank you. I see Donald Trump, of course, again, he loves children. We know he's again. I said this all the time, but I think it's important that he's been the most pro-life president that we've ever had. And so it works, that's good. And I do see him speaking to people like you all, absolutely 100%. Now, it's hard to get to him. Some people can do it. He is just so busy. There's so much going on in the world.
Good.
But we are
So
not going to have a future if we do not fix this. We've
so
lost a generation to
I
drugs.
have a
And now
few.
we're, oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
So when it comes to like the children to keep them safe, um, and for their parents to you know, um, what are some red flags that a predator will try and use? What are some with your expertise and stuff like
Hmm.
that? What are
Right.
some flags? What are some tactics that these predators try to use?
Well, of course, as you know, it goes through social media. And that's why, people are now really speaking out about it. Even there's governors, people in Congress wanting to make a limit, like you have to be 16 or something, whatever, before. Because anybody can get on social media. All they have to do is just go through your post. And they'll go back through your post as far as they need to, and they're going to go off of what you posted. Because if you're an honest person like I am, just use me as an example. On my post, you're going to have within 2 posts, you're going to know who I am, what I stand for, what I'll tolerate, what I won't. It's the same thing with kids. Um, they use it. Hey, maybe this little girl, she was that an anime or something? It's that cartoon stuff for a while. A lot of kids like. They're gonna tone in on that. They're gonna contact them. Hey, what do you think of my character? Well, a kid's not going, oh, I like him. What's about mine? You see what I'm saying? They're going to build rapport up. That's how they do it. Again,
So
easy done.
Me and Dennis came up with 5 steps that we think are detrimental on how to protect your.
Hmm.
Okay. Another thing that I would strongly suggest, even though we're not sponsored by them at all, but Life 360, always know where your child is at all times.
Oh, absolutely.
Uh,
Yes.
Second one is open conversations. Make it feel safe for them to talk to you about anything. You know, you need like
Very true.
child. You need to have open communication with your child. You need to let them know the safety, what you're doing, why you're doing it, this type of thing. Also, set clear boundaries. No secret accounts. No meetings on friends on online friends alone. You know what I'm
That's
saying? If you're gonna meet with somebody online. Make sure that you're there. Make sure that hey, this is a child and their parent. Make sure that you set up a safe way to be able to introduce friends with friends and make sure, hey, they're with a guardian. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. All right, so that's different. You know what I'm saying? Then
right. Right.
oh no, you can go to the park and go meet up with some random guy. That's not happening. Um,
Right.
the other
Uh,
thing, teach. I have three more. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to get these out there. Teach digital awareness. Okay, help them spot red flags and manipulative tactics. Like the tactics that you were talking about, that you were talking about. A lot of these predators try to find relatable topics in order
Right.
to children.
That's the number one way that they're doing it.
Number
That is the hands down the number one way that they are doing it is social media. And I want to play devil's advocate for just a second. Yes, parents need to do this. They need to, monitor. I myself have made mistakes that I see now that I wished I'd have done better. And I even talked to my other friends and younger moms, and I said, "Don't do what I done. Be more diligent," type thing. But what you don't understand is, too, when the kids go to school, their teachers are telling them, "No, your mom's wrong." Their other friends, "Nope, my mom doesn't do that."
that's terrible, and the fact that it actually happens is crazy.
Yes,
You know,
and so it's hard for parents to do
it
that.
drives me nuts because it makes it extremely difficult. It makes it like almost impossible to be able to have that rapport with your child. And again, like these teachers, they need to understand that is not your child.
Oh,
Your
but they think,
your
yeah,
responsibility is to teach them the academics that they need in order to be successful when they're in the field working. Okay,
absolutely,
mathematics,
absolutely,
uh, uh, writing, reading, history. That is your job. Your job is not to parent. Your job is to teach. So you fucking teach. Sorry for swearing.
right. No, you're fine. I do that
But
too. But
Rico,
like
correct
I
me
said,
if
as a devil's advocate, where we
uh,
are now in a society where there's so many parents,
mhm.
pedophiles, and I'm gonna have to put
Oh,
parents with them that are killing their children.
it's insane. It's insane.
That they don't have anybody to teach them what you're saying. That yes, definitely, that's what they need. You're 100% correct. And
But
I hate to say this, but
have
it's where
more.
like, yeah, and it's where you and all come in, and it makes your job hard. But
Mhm.
I hope that you look at it, and I'm sure that you do. Look at what you're doing. Yes, you know it's hard, but you're really who you're speaking for is children that can't speak for themselves,
Right.
nor do they have anybody to speak for them.
Mhm.
And again, that goes back to the state, the government taking the kids. They're on their trying to do their last, what do they call that? The last nail in the coffin. And if
Mhm.
they have a few more years with our children, we're done. We're
So
done. The government's got us.
number
And
5,
mhm,
establish a safe word. A code. It's a code your child can text or say if they feel unsafe. Like one of the things that
Oh, and
like
that's so
what
important too.
one of the things that we do in like even me and my friends, right? We have a word that says, "Hey, listen, I need you to pay attention for time." Are you there?
mhm. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
One of the things that that we say and stuff like that is cheeseburger. Sounds ridiculous, but you it's because if we look at each other, say cheeseburger, cheeseburger. Now everybody's alert. But to everybody else, it's like we're just have like this funny word like cheeseburger. But to us, it's hey, pay attention, something's not right, or hey, I like if this person's getting aggressive, cheeseburger, okay, we need to apprehend this dude and make sure that everybody's safe.
Absolutely.
It's one
And
of
in
those
the Marine
words.
Corps, it's actually called challenge and password. And we use we talk in code, especially when we're doing these secret missions.
Mhm.
That's exactly what it's called, challenge and password. And the parent will have a reply. And it works. Like that
Every
system
time
works so
cheeseburger
much.
with ketchup. Those questions that follow up with ketchup. Is it a code red? Is it bad? Is it that dangerous?
Absolutely.
You
And you
know,
can use it for the police department too.
mustard yellow. Okay, mustard. Is it you want mustard on it? Yellow, right? It means that
Right.
it's mild risk. It's not that bad. Do you want mayo on it? Which means that you're just trying to get a hold of me to let me know to contact you at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like those different things and those follow up questions are speaking in code, but those code that code talk is a direct line of communication to let your child and in a fun way, stating, "Hey, it's it's very bad. I need help. I need authorities. I need whatever, catch up.
Parents pay
I think
attention.
I think it was in the 90s. Remember when they were educating and telling people, kids, to say stranger danger? Remember
Yep.
stranger danger? That was
Right.
a big thing.
Yep.
Well,
Numbers.
they stopped doing that. They stopped doing that. The
No, they
government
did.
quit, huh?
They
They
did.
quit. Yeah, they quit doing it. They use the excuse, well, if kids are being abused and stuff that are abused, they won't trust nobody enough, a stranger. What they were doing was, oh, when a CPS worker comes in to steal them, basically, um, they're not going to tell them anything because they're afraid. No, that's not really what it was. They just did not want them to ever be learned not to, not to talk type thing. And again, they won. You can't say strength that you ain't supposed to teach your kids stranger danger no more.
Correct. The last step is encourage critical thinking. You know,
Yeah.
ask questions. Help them ask, why is this person interested in me? Why is this happening? You have to get them on a understanding level that, hey, listen, some people are dangerous. And why are they dangerous? What makes them dangerous? What are the potential outcomes? But you need to find a way to articulate it in a kid friendly manner, not something that's like, hey, he's trying to do this, that, and the third. Because what does that do? Well, now the kid's gonna be scared. Now you're gonna have uh, possibly develop PTSD and not be able to be around the society. But encouraging those critical thinking, and being able to be alert and aware, and understand the difference between somebody who's just like, hey, I like those shoes, to, hey, get in my van, I have candy. You know what I'm saying? To be able
Big
to
difference.
tell the difference between the two and what's the possible threat within
Another
those.
side of the activism too that needs to be done, where like people would maybe go into schools or even churches, to speak to the kids about things like that, to help the parents. And of course, the parents should be there too because, well, they learn.
Mhm.
That's what they need to do. There is, like I said, this is so big, guys. It's huge, and I'm the worst person on the planet to put too much on my plate at times. And I'll admit that. And that's
Yeah,
why it takes an army. But
absolutely.
and I won't get started on this. This is a whole nother program about grifters that I have found. They come
Absolutely.
across, and this hurts us. You have no. It's not just us. So don't let's just put us because it doesn't matter who we are. We are adults. This hurts children,
Yep.
hands down. This is who you're hurting when you're a grifter.
So
Oh, I care.
people
I'm
don't
out here.
realize people don't
Oh,
realize predators are strategic, and we need to be too. Awareness is our best defense. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So it, you
This
know
is right.
you got these people. You have no idea. They could be lawyers, they could be doctors, they could be well educated people. They are very strategic. They know how to manipulate. That's their whole forte. That's what a predator is very good at. Is they're very good at being shysters. They're very good at being manipulative, and they're
Yeah.
very strategic behind it.
Well,
That's
they're
the reason why, like,
yeah.
you find these these flash drives filled with a bunch of child pornography, because guess what? If we don't have the flash drives, guess what? They're still scot free. They're very strategic, very manipulative, and they know how to utilize certain softwares and programs and know how to tap
Yeah,
into.
but you're using right. You're absolutely right. But you're using it a little bit different when I'm talking about grifters versus predators. Grifters are the ones that they're not necessarily predators. Well, you could say they be predator on people that's been severely hurt and they're going through a lot. They speak, that, oh yeah, I'll speak. They'll do a podcast. I care. This is what we can do. This is how I'm fighting. When they don't, they're there for they get money. And I see this on some of the all so many of these websites that people have. It's like, prevent CPS from stealing children. And all it is a bunch of families, moms and dads, tore all to pieces on a website to try to get together. They're just lost. They don't know what to do. things like that. Well, grifters will come in and act like they care, but really what they're doing is get their hand out.
That's
And if
it.
Oh
somebody,
yeah,
and
Facebook likes all the way.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. The clout chasers. The clout
yeah,
chasers.
whatever's popular.
A little clout bubble there, do you? You want a little clout bubble?
I took down, well, I didn't take them down, but boy, I come out at them right here in my state. And when I
Yeah.
tell you I did, well, first they tried to, it's so funny. And again, this is so big. I was just kind of getting into it and how they found me. I didn't find them. I don't look for anybody for that. Right. I'm the most happiest person on the planet to sit on her couch, drink her coffee than anybody. I never thought I'd even be doing something like, but now I care. I've always had strong emotions and stuff about stuff like this, you know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
not to, be out in it. I mostly would just donate, give a bunch of money, and that was fine too, but anyway, they contacted me, all three of them. And because, social media. And, well, I talked to them and at first I thought, well, that's great. And I thanked them for what they were doing, let them know that I was brand new and stuff like that, and what kind of had happened to me. But it wouldn't take them long to ask me, and that's when again, what did they say? Your ears come up. How did you do all of this? And I would say, what do you mean? How did you get whistleblowers? I said, well, it wasn't easy, nor was it free. I said, don't think whistleblowers. I said, yes, the Constitution covers them, but they ain't free. And I said, if somebody tries to tell you that, they're lying.
Mm.
And they're like, okay, well, how, really what basically make a long story short, they wanted me to tell them how to grift, teach them basically how to grift,
Mm.
what they needed to say, what they needed to do, what they could do to make their platform larger, right? And when I
Yeah.
got mad at one of them, I said, you know what? You're on a platform because I said, you're insecure. You're using people. And when I'm saying this, I say it to their face. I'm different. I'm not a keyboard warrior at all. And I said, but your foundation, your platform is built on sand. I said, and you are hurting the very ones that you're pretending to want to try to help. Because what happens when people find these grifters? And I don't, like I said, I have my opinion on George Floyd, BLM. This has nothing to do with race. And actually, nobody would consider you racist now because then when BLM got what, almost close to $100 billion donated to them because of George Floyd. They used it, right? Remember what you said the right thing. They jumped right on it, right?
Oh
Whatever.
man. Well, here's the whole thing about that. So what a lot of people don't realize is that George Soros pocketed a lot of the money. The high elites and the BLM movement, you know what they did? They bought mansions and they were
Man,
buying Maseratis for the cars and all
they,
this crazy expenses. None of it came back to the community. Not a single
no,
dollar went back to the community. It just
you
went out to continue to get protests, to get people to donate all these millions and millions of dollars
jumped
for
on
a
what
a cause that for what? I mean, you want to look at the statistics of what happens between like police killings and stuff like that. Well, they talk about there's more black people being killed by white people. That's not the
no,
case. There's more white people in this country, and if you look at the percentage, sure, maybe the percentage is different, and that's because again there is more Caucasian than there are African American in this country, but if you actually look at the numbers and the statistics and you look at how many white people are killed by cops on a
it's,
daily basis,
you have to use
it's
per capita.
significantly larger.
Yeah, it's per capita. I did. I never worked for the RNC. Now I did contract with them, and
Mhm.
I contracted with. I have a lot of politicians, and meaning they would come to me and ask me, okay, because they need numbers. That's all a political analysis is. It's it's numbers. And I would go, okay, what area you're in, stuff like that. And I just go in, jump in, walk the streets, talk to people to get more accurate numbers. basically they do the same thing. That's how they know like what they need to say, what they need to work on to get elected, what is people loving versus what they're hating. Same exact thing with the
Oh,
grifters.
yep.
So that's why it's not to brag. It's I'm laughing. My friend, she just goes laughed at me. I said none of us are spring chickens, and she got on me one time, and she says, well, "You don't need to tell them my age." I said, "I haven't told nobody that you're 74." And when I told her that, there was a whole group of people around, but I like to think I had
You
we just
74?
tell
No
them.
way. You
She's
Y'all,
definitely kidding.
friend.
Oh
y'all,
yeah, I was about to say she's way. I mean, nah. Say
no,
you
no,
crazy,
not for
but no, you're way too young, sweetheart. We love you.
no. She was my friend. I like to think I got a little bit of sense of humor, I like to, joke around, play. But she did. She'd say, and then when I told her, said that, I said, "Well, you are 74." She said, "Yes, and I'm still sexy." And so that's why I love her, that's why we get along. But anyway, but yeah, they're grifters, and I've had to really come after them. And what they would do then, when I noticed who they were, and they knew that I noticed, what do? They try to attack you. Um, about things. You know what I'm saying? What you do, which is 101. Everybody does that. It didn't work for them. It backfired tremendously on them. But now what they're doing, and it's so funny. And I've got a team that does this. I don't do this. I don't get into the computer stuff. I'm more of a knock on the door, in your face type person talking to you. That's my strong suit. We all have strong suits. We all have weaknesses. And so I don't do that stuff. But anyway, they'll come to me like when we have our weekly meeting. They said, "Oh my God," because they follow them. They said, like such a Kathy, you talked about this and what was happening and what was going on, what you've done. It's not for me, but it's because I want other people to do it too, to help them. Try it. It might work for them, it might not, but at least they know they can try. What do? They get on their little podcast with 15 people, and they act like they've done it. And so we're getting it all compiled. Yes, we're getting it all compiled, like I said. And
We actually go out into the field. That's what
yeah,
makes us different than a
we're
lot of these
different.
other people.
And
Is
these people are bad.
we actually go out into
These
the
people are
field.
really
If
bad.
I gotta like, I actually am friends with the Augusta Police Department up in Maine.
Shout out to
Um,
them.
absolutely. Shout out to well, you can actually look him up, Sergeant Nutter. Though he has a funny name, I always make fun of him. I call him a Nutty Buddy. Uh,
Everybody.
Well, yeah, like I
um,
said, you got sense of humor too. There's nothing wrong
oh
with that.
yeah. Oh, you got to. You
That's
got to. Like, if you can't laugh, you can't heal. That's
Right.
shout out to Officer Parody of the Augusta Police Department, one of the greatest police officers I know. Shout out to the Waterbury Police Department, as well as New York Police Department, for allowing us to be involved in their investigation to try and find these children. We are actually out in the field, and everything is out of pocket. We pay out of pocket, and it is extremely expensive. But just
It is.
imagine,
I've spent,
we'll get a call, and we're gonna have to zoom all the way down to California. Okay, and we have to pay out
In
of
South
pocket,
Carolina
or
a
South
couple of weeks
Carolina.
ago.
Yeah, South Carolina. I mean, we have to go out of pocket. So we
so
don't even,
expensive.
it's so expensive. I mean,
Oh, I
just
know.
the fuel alone. That's not counting. The food,
Plane
the
rental.
rental, all the extra stuff. But everything's out of pocket because, again, we have this goal, and our that goal is to make sure all pedophiles and all sex traffickers pay the ultimate penalty. We're
Go to
not
hell.
playing around.
Go to hell.
This is something that I hold dear in my heart. And you know what? The one thing that a lot of people don't realize, right? So is hey, if you have something that is so strongly dear to your heart, right? What are you gonna have? You're gonna have the motivation and drive to do something that no one else would be able to make imaginable. And that's one of the things that I'm all about. I am going to try and lock
Passion comes out. Like I said,
lock
I
up or
say
destroy as
something.
many of them as I can.
Yes, and like I said, I can tell obviously that you are very passionate about it. I'm not as good with my words sometimes as a lot of people are.
Mhm.
Um, but again, I've never had a, but again, this is Appalachia. As you know, Appalachian Mountains go through about 13 states.
The rolling hills of West Virginia. I love it out there. And I
It's
can't
west,
wait to come down and see you.
yes.
I was telling my buddy off topic. I was telling him when I was living out in Kentucky, one of the
Uh-huh.
things that we used to go out there during season, we used to go get the ginseng and the almond bark. Yeah, I know all about that stuff, man. I know all about the hollers and go raccoon hunting and
Mhm.
what people don't realize too is down there basketball's really big. Everybody loves basketball, especially Kentucky, because you got
UK's, I think it's always been big, but again, my opinion.
always yes, yes, ma'am.
UK,
Well,
yep, yes,
I just want to say that that's pretty much we're pretty much cutting close on time for tonight. Um,
yes,
we
I understand. Like I said, we could talk for days because,
we
well,
can.
Oh yeah.
it
And
seems like I go on
By
too
the
long.
way, when can we do a follow up with you? It would be absolutely amazing if we can
no
schedule
host bar,
a
no
no hold. Yeah,
disqualification.
yeah.
We're
This
not
time
holding
we
back on this
you
one.
can say as
We
many
Kathy,
swear
we
words as
love
you
you.
want.
We love you.
Yep, absolutely. We want to do another follow up with you.
I know I've asked twice, but I want to make sure I get it right because I love the name. So give me that name of that again. We'll write it down so I can share it. The name of the podcast.
Oh,
Oh, this one has been an episode, Guardians of Innocence uncensored. This is the first time that this particular program actually goes uncensored. But what I will do, I will send you all the links to all major networks. You will have that within the next 2 hours. So I will be bothering you, honey. Good thing that
Okay.
we are in a different time
yeah.
zone, I
This
believe.
this
And
podcast is Guardians of
but you
Innocence.
know how
Right.
you asked earlier about the hunt? We're gonna go. What I'm thinking is, and Tank, Corporal Tank, I'm sure he's already all over it. The fact of the matter is, we want to go on the hunt when you can actually unleash everything. No host bar, no ratings. We just
Oh
go
yeah.
full at it because I know for a fact, out of respect and everything, you've been somewhat like holding back in a couple things. I want to do a special episode for with you for sure. And
Hmm.
Yes.
when
Again, you said you already know, and like you said, you've been to the White House. You've been to places. Let's just put it that way. That we've
mhm,
never been the majority, and we'd love to be maybe someday. But you've been. But let me give you a little quick
Speaking
suggestion.
of
Yes.
that, we just oh, sorry. Speaking of that, I just wanted to let you know that we were planning on going back to the White House in what couple months, month or so from
yeah,
now.
I would say about June,
Yeah, about June, we're going to be headed back to the White House, and we're going to be
and
talking
that's
to
inside, by the way.
inside and not just like a tour. I mean, actually going into some of the people that are running the country right
If
now.
you have an extra ticket, and maybe I'll buy one. I'd love to go with you. But like I said, no, we're all busy and we're all doing our things. I understand that. But I just want to
Get
give
in
you
for free.
one. Again, yes, come to West by God, Virginia. And I can show you some things,
We'll,
and
we'll
how it's
we'll have to do a rally point where we can meet up because we actually get in for free. We don't pay for a ticket. You got to understand again. He ran for president in 2020. That's soon going
yes,
to be his
yes,
home.
yeah. But
2028.
I
Yep.
don't
No,
think
that's another thing. In 2028, we are running again, and I'm running for vice president of the United States of America. So
well,
we're already on it, and we're planning on making that happen.
you're on the right track because it's. I know you're not grifters, but you're on the right track because you've always done it, and that's another thing in a debate. Again, this is what I used to do too in another life was you could say, hey, I've done this all the time. Say when you're doing a debate, you just started this. I've always done it. That's it. End of story. People will see it, and there's your leg up. Also, if you want to find these kids, and I hate to tell you, this is how you find them. Yes, it is the street. I'm not a street person at all, and I'm a dirt road person, but not a street per se. Is when I went to the pokey,
Mhm.
um, God works in mysterious ways, does He not? I was in. There's a lot
He
of
does.
young women in there. Well, kids to me. Anybody 35 and under is going to be young to me. Well, they kind of wondered why I was there, and I told them, it's public information, right? Got into it, the public official, and while I was there, it's public information, and I had a couple young girls, no more than 18. And I told them, my daughter's fighting for her, because she has somebody. Um, Private school, my daughter did, gated community, a lot of love. Um, tried to raise her right. It doesn't matter. I had a young girl break down. She was 18. And like I said, I think it's important. This will help you, hopefully. And she come in my cell, and I sat there drink my coffee, waiting to go to court. But again, I won too. But and she started crying. I said, honey, what's wrong? She said, I wished I had a mommy like you. I said, no, you
Everybody,
don't.
make sure you pay attention to this.
Yes. And I said, well, honey, I said, I'm pretty, I can be tough sometimes. I said, I've never hurt you. I'd never whip you, nothing like that. She said,
Mhm.
because when I was 14, do you know what my mommy gave me? And I looked at her and I said, no. She said, she gave me a crack pipe. And I never, when I tell you, and it's hard for something like that to make me do this, I thought my heart would come out of my chest. And I was trying to, keep my emotions.
I bet.
But long story short, before I left, I did take her number. She was there. What? She had drugs on her. She had, long story short, she'd been on the street. She had to prostitute. She had been in foster care because of her mom, giving her a crack pipe when she was 14. They put her in foster care. It's like throwing these kids out of the fire into the frying pan.
Mhm.
And, I called her and I asked her before I left. I don't know why I even did. I said, we have a lot of missing kids here in West Virginia. We've lost 400 that we can't find. She says, I know. I said, they've run away. Well, they're abused in the foster system. I said, do you know where they are? And she dropped her head because you know how they are. They don't talk. But I think it's where she was young and she had come to trust me. I said, will you please let me help them and tell me where some of them are? I won't tell the police. I give my word, my hand on cross. I won't do it. And she said, I believe you won't. When I got out, it was not even a month when she got out, um, she called me and she's saying hi. And I said, how you doing, honey? She says, well, I know where three of them's at, and I wanted to call and tell you because you were good to me. I said, okay. And she told me. Me and my friend went up there. Yes, they were right there. One girl now, thank God, she was 17. She was getting ready to turn, she told me, 18 in a couple months. Because I told them, I said, you can't tell me your name and where you're from because, they'll get mad and they'll try to say, even though you're not doing that, that they're trying to hide them. No, they're hiding herself.
Mhm.
And so out of the there was three. We got two of them. Finally, it took a while to go home. Not they refused to go back to foster care. And one of the things that we advocated for and we worked with them again, that's why the DAs in many counties don't like me because I don't care to tell them how I feel. And they're home now. And so, a suggestion for you all to find some of these is to get some of these predators. You're gonna have to go. I hate to say this, but you're just gonna have to. Um, and it's not hard. A lot of people don't like to do it. Find you some hookers. Get them to trust you. You'll
Yeah,
find these.
believe
You'll
it or
find
not, that's
not
actually
only
one of
some
the
kids.
one
That
of
was
the
after
things that
kids.
I don't mind actually doing is talking to them. And
Yeah,
so
it's
I a little
scary.
little a little history about me. I was private security in three different gentlemen's club, and every time, so my boss owned three of them, and he would move me to different clubs, and I was head of security. And every time he moved me to another club, all the girls followed me, and that's because
Trust.
I didn't fraternize with them. I was extremely professional. I made them feel comfortable. I would take the additional time to walk them to their car, help them with their bags, stuff like that.
There you go.
And I would they actually started calling me church boy, um,
But
because
no,
while they're up on stage, I'm praying and I'm like, please get them to stop. I hope they find a different business outlet because this isn't it. And here I am being a bouncer working there, and they're calling me church boy.
yeah. But no, I got a street name too, and I was telling my friends, and they went, "What?" I said, "Well, I've made it." And again, I'm getting ready to speak bunch of people, do like not a speech type thing, but just talk what we're doing and stuff. And they says, "What do you mean a street name?" I said, "Well, I'm from the dirt road. I never had one, so I've made it. I've officially got one. When I got to jail, that was it. I made it." And one of the ladies there, she said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "They call me cornbread." And I said, "That's my street name." Because I do have a kind of a deep dialect, and everybody started laughing. So I got one too now. But no, you all need to. And then, again, we don't want to gear off this, and it's getting late and at the end because it's just so big. But it's just a little, I guess, what FYI or something I'm telling you that it's not being done. I don't know why, how fast it was for me to find these girls. Then when I found, whatever, and it was gone, and again, now this happened months ago, about 9 months ago, but so it's like it's a lifetime, right? I have had several parents. Um, can you help me find mine? They helped them find their kid. They took my baby away from me. Now they can't find her. Get this every day. Every day I get a text and an email about this. And it's scary. Now, this is where it's scary. It's a slippery slope because you know how the law is. I'm sorry, I'm not a lawbreaker, but I do know how it works.
Absolutely. And
Um,
Kathy, by the way, I didn't mean to cut you off, honey, but whenever this stuff happens, you already know that you have me, you got couple tank right here with you, and
thank
so
you. I
on.
appreciate
We're
it.
gonna be more than happy to help you guys out. And anybody that comes your way needing help at the whole 9 yards, by all means, bring them also our way. This is not, oh, we better than you type of thing. Like, teamwork does make the dream work. So therefore, if there's anything that we can do to help you, by all means, like, this is our mission. We're not here for Facebook Live. Yeah, we have made it to
Yeah,
knocking on people's door, to XM Radio, Pandora, and this and that. But all that doesn't mean a damn thing
Not to us,
unless we are doing
unless we
what's
find them.
right.
We
And
find them
that's
and bring them
finding them,
home.
helping
you're
them,
not
bringing them
right. You see?
safety, bringing them home, or whatever
Yeah,
safety is. Like, this is what we do for a living, and we will die. Even if it takes actually putting our life on the line, we will die to help these people.
Uh,
That's our
and
life
and and
mission.
I've had guns drawn on me. I've been through a lot of crazy scenarios. Um,
you do. Like I said, it's scary. That's what I was trying to tell you.
it's
And
not
I know
scary
you
to me.
already
It's
know.
another
You
day
already
in the
know.
office.
Yes, you already know this, and I know again I was preaching to the choir, so forgive me that how dangerous it is because even when you could get a say a prostitute or that she's addicted to drugs to talk to you, it's scary for her too because if she gets caught, 9 times out of 10 they kill her, right? Also,
There was a
they know that
situation that happened up in Maine, so I'll tell you this one. This is one of the sad scenarios that does happen in the field. So there's these individuals that came into this country from another country, and it's not the south of the border. It's actually one of the Middle Eastern countries. They opened up
oh,
a store, and this store is known for selling a lot of drugs out of it.
yeah.
And they kidnapped this girl. They forced her into prostitution, and because she started owing them money for drugs because they forced drugs into her. And then
Well,
when
you're the
and then when she couldn't pay, they tied her to a tree, killed her, and left her to die there with her remains. The only way that people actually found her was because of the stench and because of the bones that were still like tied to the tree.
they done that to a tree
Animal,
and left that as a
animal,
it was a warning. They
animals ate her and everything else. It was terrible.
did.
So again, we seen some pretty
I'm sure you
gruesome,
have.
graphic things,
Like
and heard of some pretty gruesome, graphic things.
it's
Anyways,
going.
I just want to emphasize it is getting very late.
It is. It is. And like I said, next time we need to stay on track. But this is our first time together. But if you invite me back, we'll be more. This is better because well, we got to know. I hope you got to know something about me. Like I said, when I tell you,
Absolutely. And vice versa. I hope you understood that we're not grifters. We are out there. on the field, you know. No, I'm just joking with you.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. And
no,
I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. You don't know how happy that makes me because like I said, it just does because there was like I said, a couple of them when they come to me, I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. I'm excited. I'm going to have some help and
oh
use
no,
what
no,
they
no, 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 no. We will literally come down and meet you if you have a missing person in West Virginia, wherever the hell you are, and you need us down there, and it's one of those things you don't understand. Me and Dennis, it's go 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 go. We will have our stuff packed and on our way down on the road down to you, and we are going to be setting up shop. We set
thank
up
you.
comms. We have our kits. We have first aid kits. That's the other thing. Like a lot of the stuff that we have, we provide. So, like for instance, if we're out on the field, right, and
Hmm.
we would usually send either drones or anything like that to survey the area and stuff like that. And on the drones would be water, first aid kit, and instructions on how to utilize first aid kits. Because again, if somebody's missing and they're in the woods, right, and they broke a leg and they're bleeding out, well, guess what? They're going to need to do a tourniquet or do something prior to us showing up. And a lot of them don't have any water or food or anything like that. All that is essential. So we will literally provide all that stuff in order for us to go and be able to try and help find them. So I'm just gonna wrap this up. The first thing I want to say is, again, taking action is very important, and reporting suspicions is very important, right?
Thank you.
So the National
You're not a
Human,
snitch. Report it. You see
please,
something different, something that doesn't make sense. It makes more sense for you to be wrong than to you be right and not say anything. So if you notice something different, like report it. You're not being a
that's it.
snitch. You may actually be that superstar. We're not superstars. We're human,
No,
just like you.
that's it.
You might be that superhero, that superstar that actually saves somebody's life.
Trust your instincts and report it.
Better to be wrong when you said something, to be wrong um, when something happened because you didn't, and that person loses possibly their life. So I'd rather just be wrong. Nope, that's not what it was. Well, okay, that's fine. I was just worried. Go on. It's no big deal.
Absolutely.
There is a couple places that you were able to report in order to keep children safe, and one of them is the National Human Trafficking Hotline. The number is 1-888-373-7888. Once again, report to the Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888. The other one that is very crucial is Cyber Tip Line. That's for online predators at www.missingkids.org. That's www.missingkids.org. Also, contact your local law enforcement and child protective services. Even if you're wrong, it's better to report and be cautious than let a child slip through the cracks. Thank you very much. Thank you again, Kathy, for joining us on this podcast.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we do have to wrap it up. We
Yes.
are going to be contacting you after we go off air, and we're going to set up another time to be able to continue and hear some great stories from you as well.
Well,
Once
thank you. I've got a lot to
again,
share. Like, now, maybe not as big as you, obviously, but I do have. I
You're
will. I
beautiful, Kathy. You're perfect. You are amazing. And
amazing.
I can't wait to have you on the second episode on the hunt because we're gonna go uncensored.
Oh,
You
yeah.
ready for this, Kathy? I know you're ready for this.
The real cornbread's coming out.
better believe it.
You're one of us, and thank you again. Like I see you on social media and so on.
Yes, I
Um,
will see you in
again,
person too.
thank you for everything you're doing.
Oh, you all too. Thank you for what you're doing.
All right. And we're out.